The massive space station floated in the darkness between stars. Its metal walls stretched for miles in every direction. Inside, thousands of alien beings worked day and night to keep the Kethvar Empire running. This was Command Central, the heart of the greatest military force in 3 galaxies. Admiral Hyunwoo stood before the giant viewing screen in the war room. His tall gray body cast a long shadow across the floor. 6 arms moved with practiced ease as he studied the star maps floating in the air before him. For 20 years, he had led the 7th Conquest Fleet. 47 worlds had fallen before his ships. 47 species now served the Empire as slaves. The war room doors slid open with a soft hiss. Intelligence Officer So-Jin entered, her 4 legs clicking on the metal floor. She carried a data tablet in her lower arms while her upper arms gestured respectfully. "Admiral," So-Jin said, her voice echoing in the large room, "I have the list of potential targets for the next expansion wave." Hyunwoo turned away from the star map. His black eyes focused on the tablet as So-Jin placed it on the command table. The screen lit up, showing dozens of star systems marked in different colors. Red meant heavily defended worlds. Yellow meant species with advanced technology. Green meant easy conquests. "Show me the green targets first," Hyunwoo said. He preferred starting campaigns with quick victories. It kept his crews confident and the Empire's enemies afraid. So-Jin touched the tablet. Most of the star systems disappeared, leaving only 12 green dots scattered across the map. She pointed to one near the edge of known space. "This system contains a planet called Earth," she said. "The 3rd planet from their sun. It has a large population but very basic technology." The image changed to show a blue and green world covered in white clouds. Hyunwoo had seen thousands of planets during his career, but this one looked particularly peaceful, almost too peaceful. "What species lives there?" Commander Do-hyun asked as he joined them at the table. His voice carried the confidence of someone who had never lost a battle. "They call themselves humans," So-Jin replied. She touched the tablet again. Images of the planet's inhabitants appeared on the screen. Bipedal mammals, average height about 6 feet. They have only 2 arms and 2 legs. No natural weapons like claws or poison. Do-hyun laughed. "They look weak. How many of them are there?" "Approximately 8 billion, So-Jin said. 8 billion? Hyunwoo raised an eyebrow. That was more than most species had when the Empire first encountered them. "What about their technology level?" "Very basic, Admiral. They have just begun to explore their own solar system. Their fastest ships take months to travel between planets. Their weapons are still based on chemical explosives and metal projectiles." Hyunwoo studied the human images more closely. They did look weak compared to the Kethvar. Small bodies, soft skin, no natural armor or weapons. Their technology was so far behind the Empire's that this would hardly count as a conquest. More like collecting cattle. "What about defenses?" he asked. "Minimal space-based defenses. Some orbital stations and satellites. Their military forces are divided among many different nations on the planet's surface. No unified command structure." So-Jin paused and scrolled through more data. "However, Admiral, there is one unusual notation in the file." "What kind of notation?" So-Jin hesitated. "It comes from the old Veltar archives. Before their civilization fell, they left many records. Most of it is useless historical data, but this entry is different." The screen changed to show ancient text in the flowing script of the long-dead Veltar race. Below it appeared a translation in standard Empire language. "What does it say?" Do-hyun asked, though his tone suggested he was not really interested. So-Jin, read from the screen. "The small ones who call themselves human must never be provoked. They are the sleeping storm. To wake them is to invite disaster upon the galaxy." Silence filled the war room for exactly 3 seconds. Then Hyunwoo began to laugh. It started as a low chuckle but grew into full booming laughter that echoed off the metal walls. Do-hyun joined in, and soon other officers around the room were laughing too. "The sleeping storm?" Do-hyun wiped tears from his eyes. "Look at them. They can barely leave their own planet. Perhaps we should also fear their pet animals. Maybe their plants will attack us." The Veltar were always known for their strange beliefs. Another officer called out from across the room. Remember their prediction about the Zorth rebellion? They said it would last 1,000 years. It lasted 3 days. Yunwu stopped laughing but kept smiling. So Jin, how old is this warning? Approximately 2,000 years, Admiral. It was written when the humans had not even developed space flight. 2,000 years ago, they were even more primitive than they are now? Yunwu shook his head. The Veltar were fools. That is probably why their race went extinct. They spent too much time making up prophecies instead of building proper defenses. He turned back to the star map, already making plans. How long would it take to reach Earth with the full 7th Fleet? 47 days at maximum speed, Sojin replied. Excellent. Do-hyun, begin preparing the fleet for departure. We will make this a training exercise for our newer crews. They need practice with orbital bombardment and planetary occupation. How many ships, Admiral? Do-hyun asked. Hyun-woo thought for a moment. For most conquests, he used between 50 and 100 ships. That was usually enough to break any resistance and establish control. But Earth had 8 billion inhabitants. Even weak creatures could cause problems in such large numbers. 300 ships, he decided. We will make an example of Earth. Let the galaxy see what happens to species that exist without the Empire's protection. The next few days passed quickly as the fleet prepared for departure. Supply ships loaded food, ammunition, and equipment. Troop transports filled with soldiers, eager for easy conquest. The massive dreadnought ships charged their weapons and tested their shields. Yunwu spent his time reviewing intelligence reports about Earth. The humans seemed to spend most of their energy fighting each other. They had hundreds of different nations, languages, and belief systems. Some of their countries had been at war for decades over small pieces of land or ancient grudges. This made conquest even easier. Divided species always fell faster than united ones. The Empire's standard strategy was simple. Destroy their main cities from orbit, then land troops to occupy key locations. Most species surrendered within days once they saw the hopelessness of resistance. Admiral. Sojin entered his private quarters with another data tablet. Final intelligence update before departure. Yunwu took the tablet and scanned through the information. Human military strength, population centers, industrial capabilities. Everything confirmed what he already knew. This would be an easy victory. Any changes to the plan? He asked. None, Admiral. Command recommends standard conquest protocol. Orbital bombardment of major population centers followed by ground occupation. Estimated conquest time, 7 to 10 days. Hyunwoo nodded. 10 days seemed reasonable, maybe even generous. Most species surrendered after the first orbital strike, once they realized how outmatched they were. On the morning of departure, the 7th Conquest Fleet assembled in formation. 300 ships of various sizes spread across space like a metal cloud. At the center, Hyunwoo's flagship Death's Glory led the way. Its weapons could crack a planet's crust. Its shields could absorb the combined firepower of any known species. As the fleet entered hyperspace, Hyunwoo stood once again before the viewing screen. The stars stretched into lines of light as they accelerated beyond normal space. In 47 days they would arrive at Earth. In 57 days the conquest would be complete. The humans would join the long list of species that served the Empire. Behind him, officers made final preparations and reviewed battle plans. None of them mentioned the Veltar warning again. It had become a joke among the crew, the sleeping storm. As if creatures so primitive could threaten the mighty Kethvar Empire. If any of them had studied human history more carefully, they might have learned something important. Humans had a saying of their own, "Let sleeping dogs lie." It meant that some things were safer left undisturbed, but the Kethvar Empire had never learned to leave anything undisturbed. That was about to become their greatest mistake. Captain Jihai stared at the radar screen in disbelief. The coffee cup in her hand had grown cold hours ago, but she had not moved from her position at the deep space monitoring station outside Seoul. What she was seeing should have been impossible. Run. The scan again, she ordered her team. Captain, we have run it 12 times. replied Lieutenant Dongsu from his console. The readings are the same every time. 300 massive objects approaching from outside the solar system. They are not asteroids or comets. Jihai set down her coffee cup and walked to the main display screen. The objects were still too far away to see clearly, but their size readings were enormous. The smallest one was larger than any ship humans had ever built. The largest was bigger than some moons. How long until they reach Earth? She asked. At current speed, approximately 18 hours, came the reply. Jihai felt her heart rate increase. 18 hours to prepare for humanity's first contact with alien life. She had dreamed of this moment since joining the Earth Space Agency, but not like this. Not with hundreds of unknown ships approaching their world. Patch me through to ESA headquarters, she ordered. Priority Alpha alert. Within minutes, her screen filled with the face of Director Park Min-ho. His usually calm expression showed concern as he listened to her report. Have you tried to establish communication? He asked. We have been broadcasting on all frequencies for the past 6 hours, Jihai replied. Mathematical sequences, prime numbers, basic pictographs. No response. Keep trying. I am alerting all national governments and military commands. If these are visitors, we want to welcome them properly. If they are something else... He did not finish the sentence. Jihai returned to her communications console. Her team had been sending every peaceful message they could think of. They broadcast in dozens of languages, transmitted mathematical formulas that showed human intelligence, even sent recordings of music and art to demonstrate their culture. The alien ships continued their approach in perfect silence as the hours passed. More monitoring stations around the world confirmed the readings. The ships were real, they were massive, and they were definitely not human. News networks began emergency broadcasts. World leaders held urgent meetings. Military forces went on high alert. Lieutenant Dongsu looked up from his console with excitement. Captain, we are getting a response. Jihai rushed to his station. What are they saying? It is not words, Captain. They are transmitting energy readings. Very focused, very powerful. His expression changed from excitement to worry. Captain, these readings, they look like weapon signatures. Before Jihai could respond, the entire monitoring station shook violently. Emergency alarms began blaring. Through the windows, she could see a brilliant flash of light on the horizon in the direction of Seoul. Communications, she shouted over the alarms. What happened? The reply came from multiple stations at once. Reports flooded in from around the world. New York City had vanished in a pillar of light. London was gone. Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing. One by one, the great cities of Earth disappeared under beams of energy fired from orbit. Jihai grabbed the emergency radio. All stations, this is Deep Space Monitor 7. We are under attack. Repeat, Earth is under attack by alien forces. The aliens had given humanity their answer. It was not the answer anyone had hoped for. Colonel Min-ho stood in the underground bunker beneath Seoul, watching the reports flow in on dozens of screens. As a career military officer, he had planned for many different scenarios: nuclear war, asteroid impacts, natural disasters. He had never planned for this. Sir, his aide approached with a tablet full of casualty estimates. The preliminary numbers. Min-ho waved him away. I do not need numbers right now, Sergeant. I need options. Sir, with respect, what options do we have? Look at what they did to our cities. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Min-ho turned away from the screens showing burning ruins where millions of people had lived just hours ago. His aide was right, of course. The alien weapons were beyond anything humans possessed. Their ships flew through space like it was empty air. They had struck without warning and without mercy. Sergeant, Min-ho said quietly, do you know why I joined the military? No, sir. My grandfather fought in the Korean War. He told me stories about facing enemies with better weapons, better supplies, better everything. But he also told me something else. He said that having better weapons does not always mean winning. Sometimes, the side that wants to survive more finds a way. Min-ho walked to a wall map showing the locations of military bases around the world. Red X marks showed which ones had been destroyed in the first attack. There were still many green dots remaining. Send a message to all surviving military commands, he ordered. Tell them that Colonel Min-ho of the Republic of Korea Army has a message for every soldier on Earth. The sergeant activated the communications array. Within minutes, military leaders from dozens of countries were listening. Fellow soldiers, Min-ho began. Today we learned that we are not alone in the universe. Today we learned that our visitors do not come in peace. They have attacked our cities and killed our people without provocation. He paused, looking at the map. So many red X marks. So many dead. I know what some of you are thinking. Our weapons are primitive compared to theirs. Our ships cannot fly between stars. We have no way to fight back against enemies who can destroy cities from space. Another pause. On the screens, he could see alien ships descending through Earth's atmosphere, landing parties preparing to claim their prize. But I want you to remember something, Min-ho continued. These aliens may have better technology, but they made one very important mistake. They wanted to see what we are made of. Now they will learn why we conquered a world full of predators. Around the world, in bunkers and bases and hidden shelters, soldiers listened to his words. In the ruins of great cities, civilians who had survived the attacks gathered around radios and emergency broadcasts. We humans did not reach the top of the food chain on Earth by being the strongest or the fastest, Min-ho said. We got here by being the smartest, by adapting, by learning from every defeat and coming back stronger. Reports were already coming, of alien landing parties touching down in major population centers. Their soldiers were tall and gray, with multiple arms and advanced armor. They expected to find broken, terrified humans ready to surrender. Instead, they found something else entirely. In the ruins of New York, a group of police officers led by Captain Soo-jin had spent hours studying the wreckage of an alien weapon that had misfired. They took it apart piece by piece, learning how it worked. When the first alien soldiers landed in Central Park, they were ready. In London, Professor J-Ho had gathered a team of engineers and scientists in the underground tunnels. They had recovered pieces of alien technology from the orbital bombardment. While the aliens celebrated their easy victory above ground, the humans below were reverse engineering their weapons. They think this is over, Min-ho concluded his broadcast. They think we will surrender like frightened animals. They are about to learn that humans are not like other species. We do not give up. We do not quit. And we definitely do not go quietly. The first alien soldier to enter Min-ho's bunker found it empty except for a note written in perfect English. Welcome to Earth. You are not welcome here. By the time the aliens realized their mistake, it was already too late. Around the world, humans were disappearing into subway tunnels, abandoned buildings, forests, and mountains. They were taking with them every piece of alien technology they could find. They were studying their enemies, learning their weaknesses. The Kethavar Empire had conquered 47 worlds using the same strategy. Destroy the main cities, land occupation forces, accept surrender. It had always worked before, but they had never tried to conquer a planet where every inhabitant was a potential soldier, where every survivor was gathering intelligence, where losing the first battle just made the defenders more determined to win the war. Admiral Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of his flagship, reading reports from the surface. The human cities had been destroyed as planned. The landing forces were in position. Everything had gone according to schedule. So why did he feel uneasy? Admiral? Commander Do-hyun approached with a data tablet. Surface teams report some unusual activity. What kind of activity? The humans are not behaving as expected, sir. Instead of gathering in refugee camps or surrendering to our forces, they appear to be organizing. Hyun-woo took the tablet and read through the reports. Humans moving in coordinated groups, supply caches being established in hidden locations, communication networks that should have been destroyed still functioning somehow. They must be in shock, he decided. Give them time. Once they realize how hopeless their situation is, they will surrender. But deep down, something nagged at him. He thought about the ancient Veltar warning. They are the sleeping storm. On Earth's surface, the storm was beginning to wake up. Captain Dongwoo stood on the bridge of humanity's first fully operational warship. and marveled at what human ingenuity could accomplish in just 1 year. The Earth's vengeance had been built in secret shipyards hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean, constructed from captured alien technology and human engineering improvements. The ship was not beautiful by alien standards. Where HFY vessels were smooth and elegant, the Earth's vengeance looked like what it was: a weapon built by a species fighting for survival. Every surface bristled with guns, sensors, and armor plating. It had been designed for one purpose: to prove that humans could fight the aliens in space as well as on the ground. "Captain," reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Minseo, "all systems show green. The hybrid power core is operating at 98% efficiency. That hybrid power core was humanity's greatest achievement so far. Human engineers had taken alien fusion technology and improved it with human innovations. The result was a power source 20% more efficient than anything the HFY Empire used." "Excellent," Dongwu replied. "Signal the escort ships. It is time to test our new weapons against real targets." Through the viewing screen, he could see 6 smaller human vessels moving into attack formation. Like the Earth's vengeance, they were built from captured alien technology, but improved with human modifications, faster, more maneuverable, and far more unpredictable than anything the aliens expected. Their target was an alien supply convoy traveling between Earth and the Moon. Intelligence reports indicated 12 cargo ships protected by 6 escort fighters. "All ships," Dongwu announced over the communication system, "remember what we have learned. The aliens expect us to attack in straight lines using predictable tactics. Show them what human creativity looks like." The battle that followed lasted only 8 minutes, but it changed the course of the war. Human ships attacked from multiple directions simultaneously, using tactics no alien computer could predict. They flew in spirals, loops, and impossible patterns that should have made accurate shooting impossible. But human pilots had learned to shoot while performing maneuvers that alien pilots would never attempt. The alien escort fighters tried to respond using standard defensive formations, but standard formations were useless against enemies who refused to follow standard tactics. Within minutes, all 6 escort ships were destroyed or disabled. The cargo ships tried to flee, but human ships were faster. More importantly, human ships were willing to take risks that alien pilots avoided. Captain Dongwu personally flew his massive warship through an asteroid field at speeds that made his crew nervous, cutting off the aliens' escape route. When the battle ended, all 12 cargo ships had been captured intact. More importantly, the humans had won their first major space battle without losing a single ship. Back on Earth, intelligence analyst Su Young was coordinating the most ambitious spy operation in human history. Over the past year, she had managed to place human agents throughout the alien occupation forces. The key to the operation was simple. Most aliens could not distinguish between individual humans any better than humans could tell apart individual ants. To HFY eyes, all humans looked essentially the same. Human agents wearing stolen alien uniforms walked freely through alien bases, listened to alien conversations, and copied alien data files. The aliens never suspected that the small, seemingly weak creatures they had dismissed as primitive were systematically gathering intelligence on every aspect of their military operations. "Agent 12, report." Su Young spoke into her encrypted communicator from her hidden command center in the ruins of London. "Control, I have successfully infiltrated the main alien command bunker outside Moscow," came the reply from Agent 12, formerly known as Lieutenant Bo-Ra of the South Korean Army. "I am currently downloading their complete tactical database." This was intelligence that would have taken decades to gather through conventional means. Fleet movements, supply schedules, communication codes, even personal files on alien commanders. The humans were building a complete picture of their enemies' capabilities and weaknesses. But Su Young's greatest achievement was yet to come. "Control, this is Agent 7, reported another voice. "I am inside Admiral Hyunwoo's flagship. I have access to their strategic planning sessions." Agent 7 was former CIA operative Kim Jae-ho, who had spent months learning to mimic alien body language and speech patterns. He now sat in alien command meetings, taking notes on invasion plans and strategic discussions. "Excellent work, Agent 7. What are they planning?" Control, the Empire is sending reinforcements, a full battle fleet of 1,000 ships. Estimated arrival time is 6 weeks. This was the news Su Yung had been expecting but hoping to avoid. 1,000 alien ships was more than enough to overwhelm Earth's defenses, no matter how much humans had improved, unless humans could change the rules of the game entirely. General Taemin received Su Young's intelligence report in his new command bunker, built inside Mount Fuji using alien construction equipment. Over the past year, he had transformed from a Korean army colonel into the de facto supreme commander of all human resistance forces worldwide. The transformation had been necessary because humans had learned something important about warfare. Unified command was essential for victory. Unlike the aliens, who followed rigid hierarchies, humans had developed a flexible command structure that allowed rapid decision-making and adaptation to changing circumstances. 1,000 ships, he said to his assembled staff officers. That is 10 times what we faced in the initial invasion. Captain Yu Jin, now promoted to lead all special operations, looked up from the tactical display. General, our space-based forces cannot face 1,000 alien ships in direct combat. We need a different approach. What do you suggest? We do not fight their ships, General. We fight their empire. The plan Yu Jin outlined was audacious beyond anything humans had previously attempted. Instead of waiting for the alien reinforcements to arrive at Earth, human forces would strike at alien colonies throughout the galaxy. While the Empire focused on conquering one world, humans would liberate dozens. It will require every ship we have built, she continued, and we will be fighting far from home, with no possibility of retreat or reinforcement. General Taemin studied the star charts showing known alien colonies within range of human ships. 47 worlds had been conquered by the Kethvar Empire. 47 species had been enslaved. How many ships can we field? He asked. 53 fully operational warships, plus over 200 smaller vessels, replied Admiral Dongwu, who had been promoted after his successful space battle, all equipped with improved human-alien hybrid technology. The numbers seemed impossible. 53 human ships against an empire that controlled thousands of worlds. But humans had learned not to think about impossible odds. Yu Jin, begin preparing strike teams for deep space operations, Taemin ordered. Dongwu, ready the fleet for extended operations. Su Yung, I need complete intelligence files on every alien colony within range. As his officers hurried to implement the plan, Taemin allowed himself a moment to consider what they were attempting. 1 year ago, humans had been primitive creatures who could barely reach their own moon. Now they were preparing to launch interstellar military operations across multiple star systems. The transformation was unprecedented in galactic history. Aboard the flagship Death's Glory, Admiral Hyunwoo was dealing with his own transformation. The confident conqueror who had laughed at the Veltar warnings was gone, replaced by a worried commander facing an enemy unlike any in his experience. Sir, Commander Do-hyun entered the command center with the latest intelligence reports. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected unusual activity in the Sol system. What kind of activity? Sir, the humans appear to be constructing spacecraft. Large numbers of them. Hyunwoo studied the sensor readings, 53 objects the size of military vessels plus hundreds of smaller craft. All of them showed energy signatures consistent with advanced propulsion systems. How is this possible? 1 year ago, they could barely fly between their own planets. Sir, our technical analysis teams believe the humans have been reverse engineering our technology, but they have also been improving it. Some of these energy signatures exceed our own capabilities. This was the news Hyunwoo had been dreading. Bad enough that humans had learned to use alien technology, but if they could improve upon it, they might actually pose a threat to the Empire itself. Where are these ships going? He asked. Sir, that is the disturbing part. They do not appear to be preparing to defend Earth. Long-range sensors suggest they are preparing to leave the solar system entirely. Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. Humans preparing to abandon their homeworld could only mean one thing. They were planning to attack alien colonies elsewhere. Send an immediate message to Empire Command, he ordered. Warn all colonial governors that Earth humans may be planning strikes against our territories. All colonies should increase their defenses immediately. But even as he gave the order, Hyun-woo knew it might already be too late. Human ships moved faster than alien communications, and humans had shown a disturbing ability to strike at unexpected targets. Dr. Eunji had never worked in a cave before. The underground laboratory carved from solid rock was cold, damp, and lit only by emergency power cells. But it was hidden from alien sensors, and that made it the most important scientific facility on Earth. She bent over the alien weapon fragment for the 100th time that day. Her team of 12 scientists had been studying the piece of metal for 3 weeks straight, sleeping in shifts, eating cold rations, working by the light of stolen alien power cells. Any progress with the energy matrix? She asked her assistant, Dr. Woo Jin. I think I understand how it works, he replied, pointing to a series of crystalline structures embedded in the metal. These crystals store energy, but not like our batteries. They actually bend space around them to create the destructive beam. Yoonji nodded. 3 weeks ago, such technology would have seemed like magic. Now it was just another problem to solve. Humans had always been good at solving problems. Can we replicate it? Not exactly. We do not have the materials or the manufacturing capability, but Woojin smiled for the first time in weeks. I think we can modify it. On the surface, General Taemin crouched in the ruins of what had once been downtown Seoul. The alien occupation forces had set up their command post in the remains of the city center. From his hiding spot in a collapsed building, he could observe their daily routines through stolen alien binoculars. The Kethvar soldiers were efficient but predictable. They patrolled the same routes at the same times every day. They used the same communication frequencies. They followed the same procedures for everything. Humans adapt, Taemin whispered into his radio. But these aliens do not seem to learn. The reply came from Captain Jun Seo, hidden in a different part of the city. General, my team has identified 3 more patrol patterns. They never vary. Their routes. Taemin smiled grimly. In the old days, he had commanded tank battalions and artillery units. Now his army consisted of office workers, teachers, shop owners, and students, people who had lost everything in the first attack and had nothing left to lose. But they were proving to be excellent students of warfare. Junseo, what did you learn from yesterday's captured equipment? The alien armor is strong but has weak points at the joints. Their weapons are powered by small energy cells that can be removed. And General, they cannot see very well in the dark. This was valuable information. Humans had always been good at fighting at night. It was one of the few advantages they had. Around the world, similar scenes played out in thousands of locations. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes worked with former soldiers to set traps using alien technology. In the Australian outback, miners used their knowledge of explosives to bring down alien aircraft. In the Sahara Desert, nomad tribes appeared and disappeared like ghosts, striking alien convoys and vanishing into the sand. The Kethvar Empire had expected Earth to surrender within a week. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to learn faster than they could adapt. Commander Do-hyun stood in the briefing room of the flagship, staring at casualty reports that made no sense. His occupation forces were losing soldiers every day, but not to any organized military resistance. The humans struck in small groups using hit-and-run tactics, then disappeared before the aliens could respond. How many soldiers did we lose yesterday? Admiral Hyunwoo asked. 47. Across all theaters, sir. 47 to primitive humans with basic weapons. Do-hyun shifted uncomfortably. Sir, they are not using basic weapons anymore. Our intelligence teams report that humans have been modifying our equipment. They are turning our own technology against us. Hyunwoo walked to the viewing screen showing Earth below. The blue planet looked peaceful from space, but he was learning that appearances could be deceiving. How is that possible? Our technology is centuries ahead of theirs. Sir, humans seem to be very good at improvising. They do not try to understand how our technology works completely. They just figure out how to make it work for their purposes. On Earth's surface, Engineer Hana proved Do-hyun's point by successfully hacking into an alien communication array. She did not understand the complex alien programming languages, but she did understand patterns, and after weeks of listening to alien transmissions, she had found the pattern. "Got it," she announced to her team in the abandoned subway tunnel. "I am now connected to their communication network." The implications were enormous. If humans could listen to alien communications, they could predict attacks, intercept supply convoys, and coordinate their own resistance efforts. But Hana had bigger plans. If she could listen to alien communications, maybe she could also send her own messages. 3 hours later, alien units across the planet received confusing and contradictory orders. Some were told to retreat to positions that did not exist. Others were ordered to attack their own supply depots. The chaos lasted only a few minutes before the aliens realized they had been compromised. But those few minutes allowed human resistance groups to strike hard against confused enemies. Special Forces operative Yu Jin led one such strike against an alien ammunition depot outside the ruins of Paris. Her team consisted of former French Foreign Legion soldiers, British SAS veterans, and American Special Forces operators who had found each other in the chaos after the first attack. They had spent weeks studying captured alien weapons and armor. They knew which joints were weak, which equipment could be removed quickly, and how to kill a Kethvar soldier silently. The depot was guarded by 12 alien soldiers. Eugen's team eliminated them in less than 10 minutes using modified alien weapons and human tactical knowledge. But they did not just take the ammunition. They also captured 2 alien soldiers alive. Xenobiologist Wu Jin had been waiting for this opportunity. In his makeshift laboratory in the London Underground, he finally had living alien specimens to study. What he learned changed everything. They evolved on a world with no large predators, he explained to the assembled resistance leaders via encrypted radio. Look at their bone structure, their muscle development. These beings were never hunted by anything dangerous. General Taemin leaned forward in his bunker. What does that mean for us? It means they do not think like prey animals. They do not have the survival instincts that humans developed over millions of years. When we attack them, they react slowly because their brains are not wired for sudden danger. This explains so much. Why the aliens followed predictable patterns. Why they did not adapt quickly to human tactics. Why they seemed genuinely surprised when humans fought back instead of surrendering. There is more, Wu Jin continued. Their technology is amazing, but it is designed for their biology. They have 4 arms, so their weapons require 4 hands to operate properly. Their eyesight is different from ours. They can see different colors, but they have trouble with rapid movement in low light. Around the world, human fighters absorbed this information and began planning new attacks. If the aliens could not adapt quickly, humans would force them to adapt faster than they could handle. Captain Dongwu had been a commercial airline pilot before the invasion. Now he flew a captured alien fighter, modified with human controls and weapons systems. The ship was a Frankenstein creation of alien technology and human engineering, held together with determination and spare parts. But it flew, and more importantly, it could destroy alien ships. His squadron consisted of other pilots who had learned to fly alien aircraft through trial and error. Most of them had crashed multiple times before figuring out the controls. Some had died in the process. But the EIS survivors had become something the aliens had never encountered. Human pilots flying alien ships with human tactics. Target acquired, Dongwu announced over the radio. Below, an alien supply convoy moved through the ruins of Berlin. All wings, attack pattern Delta. The human pilots dove toward their targets, but not in the organized formations that alien pilots used. Instead, they attacked from multiple directions at once, using unpredictable patterns and taking risks that no trained alien pilot would attempt. The convoy's escort fighters tried to respond, but they had never faced pilots who were willing to ram their ships into enemy vessels if necessary. The supply convoy was destroyed in minutes. Back on the flagship, Admiral Hyunwoo received the battle report with growing concern. That was the 4th supply convoy destroyed this week. His forces were running low on ammunition, food, and replacement equipment. Sir, Commander Do-hyun said quietly, perhaps we should request reinforcements from the Empire. Hyunwoo considered this option. Requesting help would be an admission that the conquest was not going as planned. It would damage his reputation and possibly his career. But the alternative might be worse. How long would it take for reinforcements to arrive? Approximately 3 months at best speed. 3 months. Could his forces hold out that long against an enemy that seemed to grow stronger every day? On Earth's surface, intelligence analyst Su-Young was asking herself a different question. How long before the humans were ready to take the fight into space? In hidden workshops around the world, human engineers were working on that exact problem. They had captured enough alien technology to understand the basics of spaceflight. They had the materials from crashed alien ships. Most importantly, they had the motivation of a species fighting for survival. The aliens thought they were fighting. Captain Sang-woo gripped the controls of his makeshift fighter as it shook violently through Earth's atmosphere. The ship was a collection of parts from 6 different alien vessels, welded together by human engineers who had learned alien technology through trial and error. It should not have been able to fly, but somehow it did. Blue Leader, this is Blue 2, came the voice over his radio. I count 12 enemy fighters approaching from the north. Sang-woo checked his instruments. 6 months ago, these controls had been completely alien to him. Now he could read them as easily as the dashboard of the car he used to drive to his job at the bank. Copy, Blue 2. All wings, remember what we learned about their formation flying. They will stay in perfect triangular patterns, use that against them. The alien fighters approached exactly as expected, perfect triangles maintaining equal distance, following textbook formations that had worked for them on 47 other worlds. But Earth was teaching them that textbooks did not always work. Sang-woo's squadron scattered in 12 different directions. The alien pilots tried to maintain their formations while pursuing individual targets, which meant they could not coordinate their attacks effectively. Within minutes, 8 alien fighters were burning wrecks falling toward the ocean. Below, this is Blue Leader to all squadrons, Sang-woo announced. Package delivered, the supply ship is yours. High above, Captain Yoo-jin's boarding team prepared for their most dangerous mission yet. They were about to attempt something no human had ever tried, capturing an alien cruiser in space. The Kethvar ship Blade of Conquest had been damaged by surface-to-orbit missiles and was limping back to the main fleet for repairs. Yoo-jin's team had reached it using a captured alien transport, pretending to be a rescue mission. Remember, Yoo-jin spoke quietly to her 12-person team as they approached the alien airlocks. We have studied their ship layouts for weeks. We know where the important systems are located. We know how they respond to boarders. Most importantly, we know they do not expect us to be here. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. The human boarding team moved through the alien corridors like shadows, using maintenance tunnels and service shafts that the ship's designers had never intended for combat movement. The first alien crew member they encountered was a technician working alone in an engine room. He looked up in surprise as armed humans emerged from an air vent above his head. His 4 hands reached for an alarm button, but Yoo-jin was faster. Shh, she whispered, pressing a human-modified alien weapon against his neck. We need information. 20 minutes later, the boarding team had control of the ship's computer core, life support systems, and main engines. The alien crew found themselves trapped in their own ship, cut off from their weapons and communications. But Yoo-jin was not finished. She needed this ship functional, not just captured. Back on Earth, xenobiologist Woo Jin was making discoveries that would change the war. His underground laboratory now contained specimens, equipment, and data from dozens of alien prisoners and captured ships. What he had learned about Kethvar biology and psychology was remarkable. They are a species that evolved to be conquerors, he explained to the resistance leaders during their weekly encrypted video conference. But that evolution has made them rigid in their thinking. They have one way of doing everything, and they cannot adapt quickly when that way stops working. General Taemin leaned forward in his bunker. Give me something practical I can use. Their decision-making process is completely different from ours, Woo Jin continued. When humans face a new problem, we try multiple solutions until one works. When aliens face a new problem, they consult their databases for the approved solution. If the database does not have an answer, they become confused and hesitant. This explained so much about alien behavior during combat. Human fighters had noticed that alien soldiers would often freeze for several seconds when encountered with unexpected tactics, as if they were trying to remember the proper response from their training. "There is more," Wu Jin said. "I have been analyzing their communication patterns. They have a very hierarchical society. Lower-ranking soldiers cannot make independent decisions without permission from higher-ranking officers." Intelligence. Analyst Su Young saw the opportunity immediately. If we can disrupt their communications, their individual soldiers will not know what to do. Exactly. And I have learned how to disrupt their communications. Engineer Hana had been working on this problem for months. Her team had captured so many alien communication devices that they now understood the underlying technology better than some alien technicians. "We can do more than disrupt their communications," she announced from her workshop in the abandoned Seoul subway system. "We can completely control them." The plan she outlined was ambitious beyond anything humans had attempted before. Instead of simply jamming alien communications, they would take over the entire network. Every alien soldier, ship, and base would receive orders from human controllers. "How long do you need?" General Taman asked. 2 weeks to build the equipment, but we will need a massive power source. Something like a nuclear reactor. Captain Jae-sung smiled grimly from his position in the ruins of Tokyo. "I think I can arrange that." The Tokyo resistance had spent months studying the alien occupation, base built on top of the city's remains. The base was powered by a massive alien fusion reactor that could provide energy for the entire communication takeover plan. But capturing the base would require the largest coordinated human attack since the invasion began. Over the next 2 weeks, resistance groups from across the Pacific region began moving toward Japan. Former soldiers, police officers, engineers, teachers, and ordinary citizens who had become extraordinary fighters. They traveled in small groups using captured alien transports and human fishing boats. The alien garrison at Tokyo had no idea what was coming. Admiral Hyun Woo stood in his command center, reviewing casualty reports that made his head hurt. In Teo, the past month, his occupation forces had lost over 2,000 soldiers. Supply convoys were being attacked daily. 3 ships had been captured by human boarding parties, and now his intelligence officers were reporting organized human military movements. "How many humans are we facing?" he asked Commander Do-hyun. "Sir, that is difficult to estimate. Our initial intelligence suggested that most human military forces were destroyed in the first orbital bombardment. But it appears that humans do not distinguish between military and civilian populations the way other species do." "What do you mean, sir?" "Every human appears to be capable of becoming a soldier. Their entire population is participating in the resistance effort. Engineers build weapons, scientists develop tactics, even children serve as scouts and messengers." This was completely outside Kethvar understanding of warfare. In every other conquest, there had been clear distinctions between combatants and non-combatants. Military forces fought while civilian populations sought safety or surrendered. But humans seemed to view the invasion as a threat to their entire species, not just their military. Every human was a potential enemy. "Sir?" Do-hyun continued hesitantly. "Some of our officers have been requesting permission to withdraw to orbital positions and conduct more extensive bombardment of the planet's surface." "You mean genocide?" Hyun-woo said flatly. "Sir, if we eliminate the human population entirely, the resistance will end." Hyun-woo considered this option. The Empire had sometimes resorted to planetary sterilization when conquest proved too difficult. But Earth's large population made it a valuable source of slave labor. Dead humans could not work in the Empire's mines and factories. "No," he decided. "We need the human population intact. We just need to break their will to resist." But breaking human will was proving more difficult than breaking any other species the Empire had encountered. On Earth's surface, Captain Jae-sung was about to demonstrate exactly how difficult that would be. His assault force of 800 humans approached the Tokyo alien base from 12 different directions simultaneously. They used every trick they had learned over the past 6 months. Modified alien weapons, improvised explosives, captured alien vehicles, and most importantly, complete unpredictability. The alien garrison expected attacks to come from logical directions using standard military tactics. Instead, humans emerged from sewers, dropped from damaged buildings, and even attacked from underground using subway tunnels. The battle for the Tokyo base lasted 3 hours. When it was over, the humans had control of the fusion reactor and, more importantly, the base's main communication array. Engineer Hana's team immediately went to work connecting their equipment to the alien systems. Within hours, they had access to the entire planetary communication network. "All stations, this is Control," Hana announced over the encrypted human radio network. "We are now in control of alien communications. Beginning Operation Confusion." Across Earth, alien units began receiving contradictory orders. Some were told to retreat to positions that placed them in ambush zones prepared by humans. Others were ordered to attack locations where other alien units were stationed. Patrol routes were changed to lead alien soldiers into traps. The chaos lasted for 6 hours before the aliens. On Earth, the massive human fleet was indeed preparing to depart. In shipyards around the world, final preparations were General Kyung-ho stood on the bridge of the Terra's Wrath as it dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Altair system. Through the viewing screen, he could see the alien colony world of Kethdar Prime, home to 12 million enslaved beings from 6 different species. It was humanity's first target in their galaxy-wide liberation campaign. "General," reported his intelligence officer, "sensors confirm the planet's defenses match our projections. 24 orbital defense platforms, 48 system patrol ships, and a ground-based shield generator." Kyung-ho nodded. 6 months ago, those defenses would have been enough to destroy any human fleet. But the ships under his command were no longer the crude vessels humans had built from salvaged alien parts. These were purpose-built warships that combined alien technology with human innovation, crewed by veterans who had spent a year learning to fight in space. "Signal the fleet," he ordered. "Execute Liberation Protocol Alpha." What followed was unlike any military operation in galactic history. Human ships attacked the alien defenses using tactics that had never been recorded in any military database. Instead of focusing on military targets first, they simultaneously struck civilian infrastructure, communications networks, and supply depots while engaging the defense fleet. The aliens tried to respond using standard defensive procedures, but human attacks came from directions their computers could not predict. Human ships flew through asteroid fields, used planetary gravity wells to change direction unpredictably, and coordinated their attacks using communication methods the aliens could not intercept. Within 2 hours, the planet's defenses were in ruins. But the real surprise came when the human ships began broadcasting to the enslaved populations below. "Attention all enslaved beings," came the message in dozens of languages. "This is General Kyung-ho of the Human Liberation Fleet. Your masters have been defeated. You are now free to govern yourselves as you choose." This was something completely new in galactic warfare. Conquering species usually replaced old masters with new ones, but humans were offering something unprecedented: actual freedom. On the planet's surface, 6 enslaved species heard the human message and began to understand that their situation had changed forever. The Velmar, enslaved for 50 years, were the first to act. They stormed the administrative centers where their alien overseers lived, supported by orbital bombardment from human ships that could target individual buildings without harming surrounding structures. The Kethvar garrison tried to restore order, but found themselves facing coordinated uprisings from multiple species simultaneously. Worse, human dropships were landing throughout the planet, delivering weapons and tactical support to the rebels. Captain Jae-sung led one of those landing forces. His Marines were volunteers from every branch of Earth's former military, united by their determination to ensure that no other species suffered what humanity had endured. "Remember," he told his troops as their dropship descended through the planet's atmosphere, "we are not here to conquer. We are here to liberate. That means the people we free get to decide their own future." This philosophy proved to be humanity's greatest weapon in the galaxy-wide campaign that followed. Over the next 6 weeks, human strike forces attacked 43 alien colonies simultaneously. Each attack followed the same pattern: destroy the military defenses, support local uprisings, then leave the liberated worlds to govern themselves. The psychological impact on the Kethvar Empire was devastating. For 1,000 years, they had maintained control through the belief that resistance was hopeless. But humans were proving that even the mightiest empire could be defeated by determined opponents. More importantly, every liberated world became a base for further human operations. The freed species provided intelligence, supplies, and sometimes even ships and soldiers for the continuing campaign. Philosopher-warrior In Young coordinated the diplomatic aspects of the liberation from her flagship Freedom's Dawn. Her role was to ensure that freed species understood they had choices beyond simply replacing Kethvar rule with human rule. "We offer you 3 options," she broadcast to each newly liberated world. "You can join our alliance as equal partners in the fight for galactic freedom. You can remain neutral and govern yourselves however you choose. Or you can even choose to rejoin the Empire, though we hope you will not make that choice." This approach confused the aliens completely. Every species in their experience sought to expand their own power and territory. But humans seemed genuinely committed to the principle that all intelligent beings deserved freedom of choice. The results exceeded humanity's most optimistic projections. Of the 43 worlds liberated in the first phase of operations, 38 chose to join the human alliance. 3 chose neutrality. Only 2 chose to remain loyal to the Empire, and even those 2 negotiated better treatment for their populations as a condition of their loyalty. The Kethvar Empire suddenly found itself facing not just human ships, but a coalition of dozens of species who had learned that resistance was not hopeless. Admiral Hyun-woo received reports of the liberation campaign while en route to Earth with his 1,000-ship reinforcement fleet. Each new report was worse than the last. "Sir," Commander Do-hyun approached with trembling hands, "we have lost contact with 17 more colonies in the past 24 hours. Intelligence suggests they have all been liberated by human forces. How many ships are the humans using?" "Sir, that is the problem. Our estimates suggest the humans have fewer than 100 ships total, but they are striking at dozens of targets simultaneously across thousands of light years. This was strategically impossible by conventional thinking. No military force could coordinate operations across such distances with so few resources. But humans had proven repeatedly that conventional thinking did not apply to them. "Sir," Do-hyun continued hesitantly, "there is something else. The liberated worlds are not just remaining independent, they are actively supporting human operations against our remaining colonies." Hyun-woo stared at the tactical display showing the Empire's shrinking territory. In 6 weeks, humans had accomplished what should have taken years of military campaigns. "How long until we reach Earth?" he asked. 12 more days, sir." "And how many colonies will we have left by then?" Do-hyun could not answer that question. At the current rate of liberation, the Empire might cease to exist before they reached their original target. On the Kethvar homeworld of Kethvar Prime, the Imperial Council met in emergency session for the first time in 3 centuries. The Emperor himself, ancient and unused to crisis, struggled to understand reports that made no sense. "Explain to me again how primitive creatures from one small world have destroyed half our empire in 6 weeks, he demanded. The Grand Admiral consulted his reports with shaking hands. "Your Imperial Majesty, the humans are not fighting the war we expected. Instead of defending their homeworld, they have attacked our colonies. Instead of trying to conquer territory, they are liberating enslaved populations. Instead of following predictable military doctrine, they use tactics our computers cannot analyze. What do our commanders in the field recommend?" "Sir, Admiral Hyun-woo requests permission to bypass Earth entirely and concentrate our forces on protecting the core worlds. He believes the human homeworld is now irrelevant to the larger conflict." The Emperor considered this advice. Everything about this war had gone wrong from the beginning. Perhaps it was time to cut losses and focus on protecting what remained of the Empire. But before he could give the order, another messenger entered the throne room with news that would change everything. "Your Imperial Majesty," the messenger gasped, "human ships have been detected in our home system. They are requesting permission to land and speak with you directly." The throne room fell silent. In 1,000 years of conquest, no enemy had ever reached the Imperial homeworld. The very idea was impossible. But humans had spent the past year proving that impossible was just another word for difficult. Ambassador Sung Min stood in the Imperial Palace 3 hours later, facing the Emperor who had ordered the destruction of humanity's cities. He was accompanied by a small honor guard and a translator device that had been built from captured alien technology. The Emperor was larger than most Kethvar, his gray skin marked with the ceremonial scars of ancient victories. But In Young could see fear in his black eyes. "You are the leader of the humans?" the Emperor asked. "I am one of their representatives," Sung Min replied calmly. "I am here to discuss the terms of peace." "Peace? You attack our worlds, destroy our fleets, and now you speak of peace. Your Imperial Majesty, we did not seek this war, we only sought to survive it. But in surviving, we learned that we could not be truly safe while others lived under the shadow of oppression." The Emperor gestured to the tactical displays surrounding his throne. They showed the remains of his empire. Fewer than 100 worlds remained under direct Imperial control, and many of those were in open rebellion. "What do you want from us?" he asked. "We want you to understand that the age of empire is over," Sung Min replied. "Not just your empire, but the very idea that one species can rule others through force. We offer you a choice. Join the G